CPA firm, since I'm a network administrator, one of our policies is that if you check something like Remember Me, you get beaten with your computer. How to protect your website if you have one that uses dynamic web applications. There's a lot of ways. I just listed a few obvious ones. If you validate input, that's always good. Secure user cookies, kind of difficult, but it's possible. Apply the JavaScript filters that we talked about, the ones that make you encode. You can even go further than MySpace if you really, really, really feel the need to. I mean, they do work. They stop a lot of people from doing a lot on MySpace. So granted, there are ways around them. It stops the common folk from just doing whatever they feel like doing. Don't allow cross-domain scripting. Do not store important information in cookies, which is kind of obvious. And use encrypted sessions, which is always good as well. These are the tools that I use. I don't know if you can really read it, so I'll read it out loud too. It's kind of tiny up there. Since I use Firefox, these are good extensions that I use. Tamper Data, which is actually, it edits and views HTTP requests, which is very helpful if you are into web security. Add and edit cookies I already spoke about, which is what I use to edit the Firefox cookies. There, and it's very easy to use. It lists them, and it lists the domains on the left, and if you click them, it shows exactly on the right. It's real easy to copy paste into that. In that one, I like it. Firebug, which I recently discovered not too long ago, is awesome. It actually lets you debug and modify web code as you're sitting there looking at it. So, although it's not really related to this particular presentation, if you know what SQL injection is, it's great for it because, say there's a, the input isn't validated beyond just a simple script sitting on the page, like a bank, for say, just as an example. If you know it's not validated after it's sent, and there's just an application that says, make sure no one types in nothing, or 0, or 1, or whatever, any sort of JavaScript that they actually have sitting on the page, you can actually just take that out. Just while it's sitting there. And it'll still use all the server, all the configurations if it was still on the internet. But obviously, it won't be actually put on their website. That's obvious. But it'll be locally for you, so you just took out the filtering without even doing anything. You don't have to save and edit anything. It does it right there. And it's really easy to use, and I like it. I would recommend anyone, if you're not going to do anything else with this, just take a look at that, because it's really neat. And then the Firekeeper is the IDS I was talking about. I haven't used that too much, but intrusion detection system, so it'll tell you when you're about to do something stupid. Hackbar helps find SQL injection and cross-site scripting holes. It's not point click. Here's the exploit. Have fun, but it does help out with a lot. It's not. It definitely isn't for script kiddies. You need to know what you're doing before you use it. But switch proxy. It's kind of obvious. It helps you switch proxies. Keep anonymous information or keep you anonymous while you're browsing or doing whatever you may be doing. Tor button, which is used with Tor and Vidalia, which is a peer-to-peer proxy. Basically, it takes a bunch of people run the same program, and it bounces the information all over the internet. So you're as anonymous as you could be with it. And that button in Firefox enables it and disables it really quickly, so you don't actually have to do anything else. Peros is a web vulnerability scanning proxy, which you just run it, and then you go into your proxy settings, change your proxy settings to run off of localhost. It'll go through this Peros, and it brings up, it can spider all these sites. It can spider, which is just going through all the directories, finding every file it can possibly find. It scans for web vulnerabilities like SQL injection and cross-site scripting. It'll actually scan for them automatically. It'll give you any other misconfigured web server errors or anything that it can find that like a configuration file that's not locked for whatever reason or isn't properly hidden, that's in like a default location, say for Apache or something. It'll actually show you where it's at and whatnot quickly. Akinetics web vulnerability scanner, which if I'm not mistaken actually costs money, but the demo worked great. So I tried it out for a couple things and it was good. And Nikto and Wikto, which is web pen testing utilities for Linux and Windows, and it's sort of like Peros except you don't run it like a proxy. You just sort of run it against the site. It works well, though. They're good. Getting towards the end here, the conclusion, obviously, is MySpace is a hacking sandbox. So if you ever really want to mess with some web application security, MySpace is not a bad place to start because there's a lot of things you can mess with. I think there's also, I've never tried it myself, but I'm pretty sure there's SQL injection holes in the site as well. So you can mess with that if you know what that is. There's a lot you can do with that. Endless possibilities, like it says up there. You so many things you could find just by taking the time to do it. You take a couple hours, you probably could find 5 holes without even racking your brain. Just typing in the, put on copy paste, enter it, see if it's there. Works, great. Doesn't, whatever. But you could find them so easily. Or if you feel lazy, you could just Google it, and there's web forums that people like post the full disclosures of the exploits just sitting right there while they're 0 day. They're not reported. They're not patched. All you got to do is Google for that if you're feeling lazy. I mean, if you want to try this when you get home, that's all you have to do is just do that. You can learn ideas and methodologies that can be used in more useful hacks, like I talked about. If you really wanted to, obviously, I don't try to tell anybody to do anything malicious, and I don't do it myself. Besides just toying around with information and whatnot, so I wouldn't say that cracking a bank with cross-site scripting is a good idea. But if you really want to do it, that's up to you. Have fun in jail. But yeah, you can. The thing you learn just from this presentation could be used on hundreds of thousands of sites. You could completely open up new holes and report. I mean, if you even just knowing this could get you a job per se. If you were to go to a site, find these holes, and say, "Hey, you know what, guys? You have all these holes. So you need to hire me so I can fix them." And I'll be like, "All right, whatever," and then that'll get you a job. So you need to have fun with it too. It's always fun to mess around with MySpace. MySpace in general is fun because it's so stupid. On that note, you should friend me. If you have MySpace, that's my URL. You should write it down and friend me when you get home or when you get on your computer, which I'm sure is just sitting around somewhere in the building, so you should just friend me, just because. I talk about how lame it is. That's my actual account. That's not my cross-site scripting account, as far as you know. And then that's my email address if for some reason you wanted to email me. I don't know why you would, but just in case you did. Basically, that's the closing. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Anything? Anything at all? No? 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 Okay. Whatever works. Well, that's pretty much it. Hope you liked it. All right.
Messing sign posts?